total tangent here, but so my cat loves to pee freely, and I have recently been investing in products to deal with this issue. And one of them is like a carpet foam that you just put down on your carpet and you leave it. And it's like, gets rid of pet odors. And the picture is like basically like a beige mood board picture on the label of like clean, crisp, like nothing's ever happened to it. Mm-hmm. And I find it so funny because I'm just like, I know that's what they want you to feel like, oh yeah, my house can be like that. Yeah. But I'm just imagining a person with like this house that just looks absolutely immaculate, just like completely clean floors, everything dusted, and you walk and it just reeks of cat pee. And you're like, how?
How did this happen? Yeah.
How did this happen?
That's the thing about beige mood boards is if you ever see a pet in a beige mood board, it has been photoshopped in. The beige lifestyle is impossible if you have other mammals in your house. Maybe if you're a bird person. No, because they throw seeds everywhere. Never mind. Maybe if you're a reptile person. But as a reptile person, I can tell you still like get clutter. Like the beige lifestyle is impossible. If you
the beige lifestyle is a lie being fed to us by Big Beige in order to sell more beige.
Pinterest.
Yeah, this is Pinterest's fault. Hi, welcome to Two Lacquered Ladies, the podcast about nail polish and nail art by the ladies who stream it. I'm Stephanie, aka Fanatic here on every social media platform that matters. I'm an unprofessional nail artist, and I like to make fan art on my nails.
Howdy, my name is Danny, and you can find me as Danny Shout online. I'm a science educator by day and a nail art hobbyist by night. On stream, I like to create scenes with themes on my nails.
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello. We took a little break.
Yeah, we took a little break. We were getting a little bit burned out, both of us, and we took a little break, and oh boy, was that the right thing to do.
Yes. Holidays are hard.
Yes, they are. And I haven't been entirely well. And so it's been really hard to do the stuff I need to do to make myself feel better and then keep up with content creation. So I just said, you know what? We're not going to do that this time. Mm-hmm. We're just going to not keep up with content creation. But we are back and we are fresh, yes, refreshed, showered.
Yes. Moisturized.
Moisturized, in our lane, thriving.
I actually am still at this point taking a break from my normal stream schedule. I hope to stream maybe next Sunday if I get a chance, but I am trying to keep up with nails on Instagram and of course the podcast and everything else. And of course I am keeping up with purchasing nail polish. That never takes a break.
No. Purchases never sleep. And
yeah.
We have made several purchases because, as you know, and we know, it has been Black Friday, mm-hmm, and it has been PPU, and the Polish Beauty Expo tickets just went on sale. So our wallets are crying.
Yep, they are empty.
They're empty. They're playing the world's tiniest violin. Danny, you had a very eventful Black Friday.
Yes, there was so many sales going on. It was overwhelming, but I went ahead and tried to pick and choose somewhat carefully things I really, really wanted. I got the Holo Taco magnetic collection, of course, had to.
Of course.
They're actually doing this 12 days of Holo sales thing going on for Christmas, and I'm keeping a very close eye on it every day to see what they've got. So far, I have missed the restock of the travel bag again. But someday I'll get it. And they are supposed to be launching their polish stand. And it's supposed to hold like 40 something polishes or something, like a desk stand. I'm very excited about that because Mediocre Manis and Polish with Ray and all these nail YouTubers, they like to do these like monthly stands where they pick out the polishes they want to wear for the month and it kind of fits with a theme or whatever. And I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to do that using a Holo Taco stand.
Of course. That sounds super cool because, you know, I've been on a non-Holo Taco kick.
Yeah.
Ever since it took them 20 days to send me my order from the birthday but the birthday release, and then I didn't like the polish when it got here.
Yeah.
I've been kind of like, I'm just like kind of over Holo Taco. But then you're like, Holo Taco nail stand. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not like against Holo Taco. And their stuff do be cute. And so that does sound very nice. So I might just have to get in on that. That sounds very cute.
Yeah, depending on like the size and the look and the price, I gotta see, because I am out of space. I am officially out of space for my nail polish. So my desk is getting increasingly cluttered and I'm getting increasingly anxious about it. And I thought about buying some more of the racks that I have on my wall and just putting it on the wall behind me. But the price increase, they're like $50 a piece now.
She's crazy.
I do not remember paying that much. So now I'm looking into getting my first Helmers.
I was wondering. I was like, are we not going to Helmer territory?
I don't like keeping polish in drawers because I'm a very much like out of sight, out of mind person. So I have all my Cirques in some drawers and I just honestly forget they exist, which makes me sad. So I'm going to look into the Helmers. I'm going to look into some other options, but hopefully this Holo Taco stand is something that could fit on like a good sturdy bookshelf, because that's my dream, is to have a Bell style library, but it's polish. The
that
ladders
so
and all.
Yeah, you can just like get a bunch of, I mean, you might not want to necessarily spend the money on all of them being Holo Taco, but
no, but the Holo Tacos should go on a Holo Taco stand, I think.
Agreed. Of course. Of course. I am running out of space I have a combo Cirque Holo Taco drawer. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, so I don't have classically what people used to refer to as the quote Melmer, which is Michael's Helmer. And if you don't know what a Helmer is, it is a storage unit of drawers from IKEA that is so synonymous with polished storage that people will tell you how much they have in Helmers.
Yes.
How much, like I have 3 Helmers worth. And when you start to know people who are even more extra than Danny and I, so this is going to be Danny and I in like 10 years, they'll be like, I have 3 Helmers full of this one brand. And it's like, oh my God. Like, that's like a college education. It's not, but like.
It's so much polish. Yeah. No, it's
so
amazing.
Much polish.
And I think the reason why the Helmers specifically are very popular with nail polish collectors is because the drawers are all the same size. Mm-hmm. You know how a lot of the office drawers, they'll have like a big one on the bottom and then they'll get smaller at the top. Helmers are all the same size and they're deep enough to hold even some of the tallest bottles, like the Orleys. Orleys are pretty tall bottles.
Yeah.
But I checked the measurements and they do fit. They fit perfectly in a Helmer. So yeah, there's this whole culture around Helmers and nail polish collecting. And I want to say at least 50 polishes fit in a single drawer. Give or take. And then there's like 6 drawers on one Helmer. So you can imagine some of these big time collectors measuring things in Helmers. That's a lot of polish.
Yeah, I wanted Helmers, but then I don't know if they're still like this, but when I decided to get Helmers, I got one at a time because I wanted to make sure they were right for me. And I built 2 or 3 of them, and they were all so defective that I literally couldn't build them. One of them had a bead of weld where something was supposed to sit flat. And I literally could not, like, I could have sanded it down, but it was painted. And I was like, oh, then it's going to rust and then it's going to be awful. And actually, I was in Kelly Marissa's Patreon. I still am. I'm less active on her Facebook group than I used to be. And at the time, though, I was trying to build these Helmers and she was buying them at the same time. And so we were talking, she and I, a lot about building these Helmers. And one of the problems is that they're bent metal. And there's metal that's bent very precisely by a machine, but it was bent wrong. And she actually got her fiance, Ryan, to like bend it like correctly for her. But for me, I was like, this is my first Helmer. I'm not going to like put all of my, money into this thing that's just not going to work out for me long term. If they're all going to be like this, I'm not going to try to make it work. Like my money is worth something.
I remember that vlog where she discovered that her Helmer was defective, and these things aren't that cheap. They're like, they're like $70 or $80, or at least on the website that I was looking at. So yeah, that's why I'm hesitating. I want to actually go physically to IKEA and see if they have one in stock, like a display one that's already assembled, and really inspect it and take a look at it and see. Because yeah, like I said, one, I don't really like keeping polish in drawers, but when your collection gets big enough, you don't really have a lot of options.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to make sure it's a good quality, because the Michaels doesn't sell their version anymore. Is that right?
Michaels doesn't sell like the original thing that people called a Melmer.
Oh yeah.
However, they do sell, as far as I'm aware, what I have right behind me right now, which is the Michaels modular system. But there is a bunch of issues. So my Michaels modular system is 2 sets of drawers, they're pretty much tall enough for any nail polish that you would want. Mm-hmm. My Orleys fit in them just fine. And then there's these little squares on top of it to kind of make it a little bit taller. And then like a tabletop, and I used to use it as my nail desk. And then I have like a shelf thing that's not really part of the system put on top of it. But the problem is that these are kind of built, the modular system is kind of built for people using like a higher up chair. So I haven't been able to use it as a place to sit because like I don't like sitting on a bar chair. And it kind of goes from tall to taller because I have like the wheels. There's wheels on the bottom, and I have the wheels taken off so it sits like directly on the floor.
Gotcha.
And then the big thing though, the big thing about it is that the drawers don't come out all the way, and there doesn't seem to be a way to set it up, even if you like go against what they want. If you do that, then like the drawers, they need the thing that stops them at the back in order to not fall into the other drawers.
Yes.
Like that's part of what's holding them up. So like that really sucks because there's like literally like 3 inches of space at the back of the drawer that I can't fit things in.
Right.
I can't put polishes there. So I can say that they hold like 120 polishes per drawer, which they like do, because Helmers are a little bit narrow. Mm-hmm. But I can't, but they don't actually.
Because you can't access the ones in the back.
Because they can't access it. So yeah, they're pretty annoying. Like I don't know what a better solution is, except for a Helmer that works.
Yeah, a good Helmer maybe, but someday us as the nail polish community will find the perfect drawers, which I guess the Helmers were for a long time, but who knows?
Hopefully IKEA will just get their act together, you know?
Yeah, that would be good.
And maybe they already have. Like, I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody about their Helmers recently.
That's true. So we'll put that out to the audience. Have you bought a Helmers recently?
Have you bought a Helmer recently?
Or ever? And what was your experience? Did it go together flawlessly, or was it full of flaws? We want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent there, but it's an important thing to talk about. If you're going to start a nail polish collection, you need to start thinking about storage from the beginning, because yeah, just letting them sit on your desk, it's not going to end well.
Or even worse, in a tub, and they're all rubbing up. I've seen that. I've seen people with huge tubs of them, and I'm just like, my poor babies.
Stress.
Don't do that. Don't do that to your babes.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to care for them. You need to store them properly.
Yes. Okay, what else did you get from Black Friday?
Yes. So Holo Taco, we talked about. I also got the nail art mat, which I'm excited to try out and see how that goes. And I got a refill on some things I needed, like Peely Base and Not Milky White. The next one that I planned ahead for, that I wanted, was the Glisten and Glow. Because she did a, what was it, 30% discount? It was 35%. Huge
Insane.
Discount. Insane for a small indie creator. Like, that is so good. Plus, I got the coloring book. I'm very excited about that. And if you bought $50 worth, you get a free gift.
Yes.
And I got a super cool polish. It's pink with black and hollow glitters in it. It's Revive Your Monster. It's so cool. I'm very excited about that. But then Then the surprise sales came along, or not surprise sales, but sales I wasn't planning on purchasing from. They pulled me in. So Etsy did a 15% off sale. So I had to get more Glimmer by Erica. Absolutely obsessed with those glitter polishes. So I got a snowflake one, a kind of red and green Christmassy one, and a super sparkly like gold silver one for New Year's. So I'm covered for the next like 3 holiday season eras. And then the last one I bought from, again, really didn't plan on doing it, was Cirque Colors. They pulled me in. They charmed me with the free gift you got by spending, I think it was $80 or more, which is insane that I spent that much, but I couldn't help it. It was basically a white version of their speckled topper, spotted. Oh my God. It looks like little snowflakes and it's so cute. And I had to have it. And I had to have more Cirques. But I didn't buy a single polish from their actual holiday collection, because I wasn't impressed by those.
Absolutely not. Me neither.
Yeah. No, I was just like, ew. Like, what did they have? A shimmery red, a blue jelly that literally looks like Oasis jelly from Orly. Yeah. And then, AU, which is gorgeous, but I'm not doing that this year. Maybe someday, maybe I'll buy it as like a milestone polish. But not this year. The solid gold, not solid gold, but real gold flake. What is it, 23 carats?
Yeah, 23 carats.
You bought that one. Tell us what you think of that.
Oh, I did buy that one. It's wonderful. Kelly has said before, and she's right, it just melts right into the nail. And I like it because the flakes are really large and they're sparse, which I like. I like a sparse topper generally more than I like a really packed topper. Now, like in specific, I like certain toppers that are really packed, but
yeah, it depends on what it is.
I tend to go like, it's a topper. I want it to top the polish. I don't want it to be the polish. That's a full coverage. And so I was really happy about that. I think for me, it was a little like yellow. It was like, it is yellow. But yeah, I did get it, and I wanted to unbox it because oftentimes people are really excited to watch me unbox. Unfortunately, like, it wasn't that exciting. Like, people didn't like show up in droves to see me unbox it. But I do plan on sometime this month taking that and my Christian Louboutin, which are my 2 most expensive polishes I own, and making a beautiful, fancy, expensive AF manicure out of those 2. But I was so annoyed because I bought it, and I bought it really fast, mostly because I wanted to do the unboxing. And then they did this sale, and I was like, well, I could have just bought it now.
Right, because that would have been half of the $80 requirement you needed to get the free. The free gift came with the polish, the white topper, a tote bag, and like I think a file, an emery board file, which I'm not excited about the other 2 things at all. I really just wanted the polish. Yeah. So I went ahead and bought up a bunch from the what's it called? It's like the gemstone collection with citrine.
The facets.
The facets collection.
So beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And for some reason I don't own anything from that collection. So I went ahead and got a whole bunch of polishes from that collection, and I'm very excited about them. They're not here yet. Maybe I can unbox that on stream, just as like a short stream when they show up. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be great. Actually, 2 years ago for Christmas, I asked 2 or 3 years ago, I asked my mom for various colors of Holo Taco, and she got me some Holo Taco, I think, but some of it must have been sold out. And so she bought me off of Amazon Cirque Garnet and Cirque Peridot. And I at the time was kind of like, oh, okay, thanks, but like, these aren't the linear hollows that I wanted. I didn't say that. My mom was like, well, they're not exactly what you wanted, but I hope you like them. And now it's like 2 years later, and I'm just like, yes, thank you. Cirque is the best.
Cirque is amazing.
Yeah, I know the first time I wore Peridot and I like went outside, I was just like, whoa, this is insane.
Absolutely gorgeous.
So yeah, thank you, Mom, for getting me Cirque colors, even though you were like, I hope she likes it. I loved it. It was great. But yeah, so I did not shop that sale. However, I did tell my family, like, here's a bunch of Cirque colors that I want for Christmas, and make sure that you get it at this time if you want to get me that because I want this topper. And I have a suspicion I'll be getting it unless they like didn't do something right to get it in the cart.
Yeah.
Which I won't be mad. I will be sad though if that happens. So I did not shop from that, but I do wish that I did. And I didn't do a crazy amount of Black Friday shopping. I'm trying really hard to make this a low to no buy month. I mean, there's no way it's going to be a no buy month. We already had polish pickup, but that's
a tradition.
It's our brand.
That's a necessary part.
Yeah, like it's what we do around here. Can't wait to talk about that, but I'll just go over what I got. I also got the Orly in the Spirit collection because I was starved. I was starved for holiday from Orly. I did not, as everyone knows, I did not like the Futurism collection.
Yep.
And it's so funny, just the incredible divisiveness of that collection. I have seen some people use some of those polishes in ways I appreciate. And I even use them too. But like, that was against my will. That was because they were forced upon me and I was trying to make the best of a bad situation. I'm sure I'll appreciate them more, but
I did end up using them in some nail art. So they have their place in my collection.
Yeah.
But I was equally disappointed when I opened the box because I wanted Christmas for once. Like I wanted those bright reds and greens and gold and just, everything this collection was not.
Yeah. So I got the In the Spirit collection and it is just an incredible collection. I think it's from their Breathable line and it is just all shimmers and there's a black, there is a murky mossy grungy pine green. There is a very light, almost cool toned yellow. There is a beautiful orange. There is an insanely gorgeous red, just an incredibly rich, beautiful red. And then this purple that I'm kind of like your hair, hope you win. It's so I did a water marble. I unboxed them on Friday and I did a water marble with them and they were a bit difficult to water marble with just because they were like almost metallic shimmers. And so you could see every single flaw. It was just
were they really thin in the water?
They were really thin and the color payoff was good. I haven't posted pictures yet, but except for in my nail stream show off on Discord. But yeah, like my white base coat wasn't perfectly level underneath and you could see every single bump in that. And so I could have done better, but if you weren't looking at that, if you were just kind of like looking at the vibes of it, it was very cool. It was very fun.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now on your Discord, and yeah, I like those colors together. It's like a moodier Christmas.
Yeah. So I really liked that. It makes me think of like Christmas in the desert or something. They're very, very cool. So highly recommend those. They're the Breathable line. I'm going to be getting my sister-in-law some of the Breathable line for Christmas because she doesn't like to use top coat and she complains about it sometimes that her nail polish doesn't last. And so I am going to be like, okay, try these ones because at least these are made for you to not wear top coat.
Yeah.
And so I think that she'll really enjoy those. But yeah, absolutely recommend that collection. So beautiful. And then I also did Glisten and Glow, which I know you're all going to be very surprised about that I would buy from Glisten and Glow, but I did. And yeah, wonderful sale. And I got a beautiful polish for the mystery polish called Vintage Ornaments. And I just think it's so cute. It's like kind of a tealy seafoam base, crelly, with just a bunch of like multicolored hex glitters. So that was cute. And everyone I showed it to just thought it was the cutest thing. And I was really excited because I was in her live on Instagram and she was showing it off. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And she was like, oh, well, yeah, you can get it as a free gift. And it came with mine. So I was really excited about that. I also got 2 of the vampire polishes from the Dracula's Den collection. One of them is Vamp Stamp, which is a gray crelly with red flaky glitters in it. And I was really excited because there was a polish called Angry Urchin that came out a while back in PPU and I got it, but then my friend Rhina was obsessed with it and like didn't get it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I have so much polish and she just does not. So I ended up sending it to her. And so I was like, oh, hey, like, here's one that's very similar to it that I actually like better for a number of reasons. And the other really cool one that I got was called Vein Slayer, which is also from the Dracula's Den collection, which was a white Crelly with red hex glitters in it. And it, to me, like, okay, it was nice for Halloween, but I think it's perfect for Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, because, yeah, red and white can be, you know, it could be used for lots of different Christmas manis. I believe I know I got Vamp Stamp. I believe I also got Vein Slayer because I couldn't help myself. It reminds me of this band that was at our high school called Prom Night Fist Fight, and they had white t-shirts with like red bloody handprints as their like merch or whatever, and it just brought me back, and I was like, I need it.
I think that you need to do like a Danny's Life deep cut stream where you absolutely make like nail art for Prom Night Fist Fight with that polish.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Because you were talking to me about that like last night and or 2 nights ago, and it was you're so excited when you talk about it.
It's just a fun memory of like, there was a band in my school.
But yeah, we also bought from PPU.
Yes.
And PPU was so much fun this time.
Oh, man. We were on top of it this time. We were ready.
Yeah. I was extremely excited, and I know a lot of people were excited because it was such a good polish. Phoenix Lacquer, or Phoenix Polish, I'm not sure, but Phoenix this time released one called Boy Toy, which is inspired by Ryan Gosling's version of Ken from the upcoming Barbie movie. And the polish and then the picture they posted of him, first off, yeah, Danny just fanned herself. Yes, agreed. It's getting hot in here, and Ken has taken off all his clothes, and he looks so damn good.
So good.
So good. So darn good. And yeah, and the colors of the picture they chose and the colors of the polish, basically, it's kind of like what we've been expecting from Cadillacquer recently, which is this kind of like Crelly multichrome almost.
Yeah.
That allows you to see things through. It's not quite like, you know, the metallic pineapples have peelings too. It looks much better. With little blue hex glitters in it, which also we've come to expect from Cadillacquer. But all just the vibes, absolutely immaculate.
Vibes are immaculate.
And I hadn't told Danny which one I wanted, but we were going through and I was like, there's one that I want. There's one that I want. And then when you see it, you're going to know why I want it. Because everybody knows I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. So we got that, but also there's one that I bought that Danny didn't buy that we were cracking up the whole time.
I wish I got it. I was already beyond my polish limit that I had set for myself, which was 4. I ended up getting 5 polishes, so I couldn't justify it, but oh my God.
I wouldn't have bought it except for I rewatched our VOD and I was just sitting there just dying. It was Bluebird Lacquer, who I have been a little bit critical of because like they almost always do teal hollows in polish pickup. But this time they were like, no, we're not going to do that. We are going to go with our inspiration, and our inspiration is red nail polish.
Red nail polish inspired by red nail polish.
And they nailed it. That was red nail polish 100%. I've seen it before. I can tell by the pixels. It is red nail polish. So it's called You Read My Mind, and it's a red with like a slight gold shimmer in it, which is already a vibe I do love. So it's not like...
Oh, it's beautiful, yeah.
It's not like I'm going crazy buying something I wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
But, oh gosh, we're just like, and every time that we had like a moment, like we were just like, sorry, we're just inspired by red nail polish right now.
No, like if I ever have a brand and I do polish pickup, every time it's going to be inspired by whatever the heck I post. I'm like, this is purple nail polish inspired by the color purple.
They're like, the movie, the play, or no.
Nope, the color.
The color.
Of which this is. There was another really funny polish that, and here's the thing, I don't know, I'm sure Bluebird Lacquer made that joke on purpose. Surely you don't type inspired by red nail polish and don't mean it. But MJ Lacquer definitely made a joke this month, and I love it. It's called Wait, What's a Crelly? And it's this beautiful yellow crelly with black and multi-chrome flakes in it. It looks like some really tasty deviled eggs.
Yes.
So it's going to go with my potato salad polish, also by MJ Lacquer. And I'm just building up a whole collection. I love it. Thank you, MJ Lacquer, for coming to the picnic again.
Yeah, we gotta get some of these polish creators on the podcast to talk to them about their inspirations and their process, because it's just so funny and fascinating. And, you know, just by going through polish pickup, we can really see what we have in common with these creators, and that we're all just a bunch of little weirdos who just love making weird art on our nails, except for certain ones who I'm like, you know, they're just too cool for school. Yeah. But oh my goodness, a special shout out, by the way, I just want to put it out there. Saki Cosmetics, I did not buy this, but they had a polish called Beige Aesthetic based off of beige mood boards. And I was so close to buying it. And I was like, am I really going to buy a nail polish inspired by beige?
Beige. Beautiful.
But, oh my gosh, it was
beige.
so classy. It's like probably the classiest polish I'd ever seen.
I love a good beige mood board. Like, they always have like beige and white, and everything looks so clean. Like, nothing has ever had a stain in its life. It's amazing. It makes you feel very peaceful.
Yes.
And yeah, go girl, give us beige.
Yes, go girl, give us beige.
Oh, so what else did you get? So you got Boy Toy, you got what was the name of the?
You read my mind.
You read my mind. Inspired by Red Polish. I got MJ Lacquer and Boy Toy. I also got Cuticula's Pixie Glass. It's so cute. It's like a purple crelly with tons and tons of iridescent shards in it. I'm so excited for January for that one. I think it's gonna make some really good winter nail art. What else did you get?
I got the Pinnacle Polish, and let me just really quickly look up what it's called. It is called Go Up, and it is inspired by a rock climbing wall at a gym. And I don't rock climb at a gym or otherwise. I have always kind of, like, when I was a kid, like I always wanted to, but I never did. But I just thought that the inspiration was so incredibly perfect that I had to get it. It looks like, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what that looks like. And I really, really love BSC Lacan that came out, I think in like August of this year, which is like deep, almost navy blue with big hex glitters in it. And that one's just such a gorgeous polish. And this one, you know, is similar in many ways. There's a good chance that someday I will meet someone who likes nail polish and also likes rock climbing walls, and I might be like, finally, you've arrived. I've been waiting for you.
The prophecy foretold.
The prophecy has been foretold. And I will give it to them, but like, I will probably also wear it, but like, it was just so perfect. I had to make decisions. I had to make some big decisions, things that I would have bought, but I really want to cut back on how much I'm spending on nail polish, spend money a lot more wisely, especially because like I have a lot of things planned coming up. I have a lot of friends visiting, which you will be hearing about next month, I'm sure. We are going to Polish and Beauty Expo. We just bought our tickets to it. That's going to be a hotel room. That's going to be either a flight or, as Husbando wants to do, drive there.
I think we are probably going to end up driving there, although we've got to make all those plans and yeah.
So we got to be a little bit particular about how much we buy. So it's going to be a thing, but I'm very happy with the ones I ended up with. I don't think I would have changed anything. The Cleona Cosmetics Vaporwave.
That was hard to let go.
That was hard to let go. That was absolutely hard to let go. But I don't think I have enough in me to learn how to do the magnets the way that they are in that, like, in the pictures that they posted, because they were absolutely insane. The magnetization they did was absolutely insane. And I just recently realized I have a bunch of like special magnets that I got from a D-stash it was a huge D-stash. I didn't even know what was in half of it. But like, I found them. So like maybe I'll have a better time. And Cleona, I don't think that their limited edition actually has a whole line of those similar ones.
Yeah, they just came out with like it was described as like an oil slick magnetic.
Yeah, so it's called Slickadelic, which is like a very cool word.
It is really cool. And I love it. They're all shifty with the magnetic. And yeah, I had to cut that one too because I literally just bought the Holo Taco magnetics. And luckily magnetics don't go bad or anything, but that's a lot of magnetics all at once. So I'm going to play with my Holo Taco first and then look into Cleonda. Let's see. The other one I got was, I did get one red polish. I got Love Stoned from Color Spectrum Polish.
Oh, and it's so pretty.
So cute. It looks like little ladybugs. It's this red curly with some black glitters in it. And it's, I'm a sucker for black glitters. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. It's so gorgeous.
And then the last one I got was from Bee's Knees Lacquers because they are shutting down. And we don't know if it's permanent or temporary yet. The creator needs to take a step back, and that's totally understandable. So I did want to get one last BKL just to get, just in case it doesn't come back.
So I actually heard something, and I maybe should have told you sooner, but I don't think I heard about it before we placed our orders. But I found out that, well, one thing is that, she's a little bit sick and needs to take a step back. However, she is going to still continue doing like PPU and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like she's not completely stepping back. It's just she's gonna stop doing, because like BKL does these massive launches several times a year, and they're all limited edition. But I know even before I heard that she was taking a break, I was like, dang, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And people love them. They sell out. Obviously, she's, making, good money on it. But yeah, when you are an independent brand and you don't want to just sell your brand and lose everything that makes it your special brand, if you can't do it, you can't do it.
Right. These are people.
Yeah, exactly. Like if, somebody takes a break from their job at Starbucks still runs. Even when the CEO takes a break from Starbucks still runs. But when these independent polish makers have to take a break, they stop running. So get well soon. I'm so happy that you're going to still be putting polish out into these collabs, because I have one BKL and I think it's very pretty, and I'm hoping to get some more in the future. But I just really hope everything goes okay, and then eventually she can get back to making her full collections, because those were absolutely wild and radical.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, honestly.
I know. And there is a lot, like you said, Bee's Knees Lacquer, there's a lot of mega fans out there who are rooting for her. And nice thing about such a small nail polish community is that we all are very understanding. Or at least the voices I've heard. Everyone understands if a small creator needs to take a break, which is really nice to see. I like that positivity in the nail art community.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I think it might be time for us to oil our cutes. So we're going to take a quick break, and you will get a message from me. And when we come back, we will be answering a question from one of our viewers. So stay tuned. Hi everyone, it's Stephanie, and I'm here to ask you to ask us some questions. So if you have any questions you'd like for us to answer on our podcast, please email us at twolacqueredladies@gmail.com. That's like our podcast, 2TWO lacqueredladies@gmail.com, and maybe next episode we'll be answering your questions. Stay lacquered. Okay, we are back. Our cutes are oiled. I oiled, by the way, I oiled my new beautiful nails. I have a new nail shape because I had those lipstick tip nails, which were fabulous. We loved them.
Iconic.
Exactly. Thank you. Iconic, amazing, but annoying in a number of ways. Not as annoying as I would expect, but mostly it was just like kind of hard with them being out of balance to make art on them. And also like in my everyday life, it wasn't like the worst, but also I just kind of was, last night I was just like, okay, we're done. So now I have some ovals that I've never had before, and I'm honestly loving them, but that is besides the point, because today we are doing our first audience question answer session. And there will be info probably in the ad break, or you might just hear me going like, editing Stephanie here. You can send them to here. We want to hear your questions. If you have any questions for us, if you have any prompts for, just sections or whole episodes, please let us know. You'll be able to email us or even just send us a message on Discord or on Instagram, wherever fine Danny's and Stephanie's are located. You can definitely contact us and we will answer your questions. Anyway, so our first question comes from one of our most avid listeners, who is Betsy Ross. Would you believe it? Betsy Ross, one of our listeners.
Betsy Ross.
Huge celebrity. I don't think that we've had a celebrity like this talk about or be involved with our show before. So thank you so much, Betsy, for watching the show. And Betsy would like to ask for 5 mistakes we made starting out in nail polish. And we are going to also apply this a bit to content creation, because with Danny and I, nail polish and nails and content creation all go together. So yeah, we are going to answer that in a lovely numbered list.
Yes.
And I will start though. I will start.
Yes.
And so the number one thing that I have had mistakes I've made with that I have learned from is I think that I have assumed in starting out in nail polish that there was one right way to do stuff. And I think that especially in our online culture, there's a lot of people who will put out content that state like, did you know that you were supposed to do XYZ this way?
And you've been doing it wrong your whole life.
Yeah, I was today years old and I found out that, and it's like, okay, you were today years old when you realized you could do this thing. But just because you can flip down the back of your McDonald's fry container to put ketchup on it and use it like that, doesn't mean that was integrated into the design. I think that we probably would have heard of that. And so, I think that what I have learned a lot of is that there's a lot of people I get info from that gives me a different perspective and helps me kind of, I like to use the word triangulate. It's not really the right word, but it's the right word for me. Triangulate what I want to do. So for example, Christine from Simply Nailogical is like, you must cap your nails. You must cap them. You must cap them. You must cap them. And then Kelly Marissa's like, I have really short nails, so I don't cap them and it's fine. I prefer not to cap them. And then also Simply Nailogical doesn't talk about dehydrating her nail plate that much when she talks about how she does her nails, whereas Kelly Marissa does. I am a hardcore nail capper, and I am also a hardcore nail plate dehydrator.
Right.
Some people will have ways to do things that you're going to think they're so good at it, and so I'm going to be good at it too if I do it the exact way. But there's so many factors that you might not even know. Like, for example, Colette from Colette MSLP or My Simple Little Pleasures is really good at water marbling. I don't know off the top of my head, is her house warmer than other people? What temperature of water does she use? What pH of water does she use? What pH is her skin? There's so many variables that you don't know. So, and especially because this is something on your body. When you're working with a system, when you're working with a Lego kit, there is one way to do things.
Right.
But pretty much anything else in life that's not something that was built to directly be used in the certain way it is, which I mean, even Lego kits, you can make into something else. Whether it's nails or anything else, you're going to realize that just because something works for one person, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that's really what I've learned in nails.
Yeah. And that was the exact first point that I made, is that I would always assume it was my user error, why a product didn't work for me. When in reality, like you just said, everyone's nails are different, everyone's bodies are different, and you're going to react to products in different ways. And some things are going to work better for you than others. So for me, it was the Holo Taco top coat. that taught me this. I bought several bottles of the super glossy and glossy top coat, and that's the only top coat I used for a long time because I was like, well, it's Holo Taco, so it's automatically the best, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where I started out my collection and everything. And it took me a long time to kind of realize, like, no, this top coat just doesn't work that well for me. It gets too thick, too fast, it gets bubbles. And yeah, like you said, maybe my house is too cold, like whatever it might be. And that's when I finally started branching out, trying different top coats. And eventually I did find the Glisten and Glow top coat. And now I'm never changing.
Yeah.
Because it's so good. But yeah, that was a mistake I made, was just kind of assuming that it was my fault and buying more of the things that wasn't working for me and trying to make them work, instead of, there's so many brands out there. You can branch out, you can try different products.
Yeah, that's the reason there's so many products. And I think I assumed, probably like you, that, I knew that the super glossy top coat by Holo Taco was different because it contained toluene.
Mm.
And I just kind of assumed like everyone's making the same toluene based top coat. If it has toluene in it, it's going to be the same. And no, it's not. And then actually getting to know Jill from Glisten and Glow, I've learned that she took time to develop her top coat. That was her. She made it. She formulated it, and it's a formula that nobody else has. So it is different from the super glossy top coat. In my opinion, it is superior to that top coat for me, but that doesn't mean it's going to be superior for you. You might try Glisten and Glow and be like, oh, but it's not thick enough, but I like it when it does this, and that's great. People do things so differently. So number two, we've gone to number two. So number two for me is something a little more like very specific. When I started stamping, I was again watching a lot of Kelly Marissa, and this actually ties back into what works for some people will not work for you. Kelly Marissa forever was always saying, and I think still does, that, you don't need a stamping polish to stamp, that, you can make regular polishes stamp. And although I think that she is correct, that you don't need a stamping polish to stamp, boy, howdy, did I need a stamping polish to stamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Least, I would say this for anyone who's interested in nail polish stamping, at least get yourself a black and a white.
Yes.
Like that's all you need to get started. And because regular polish can stamp, but it's not going to be as crispy. It's not going to be as opaque.
Yeah. Or it might not even pick up at all because, I think a lot of people say like, well, the difference is that the stamping polish is heavily pigmented. And I don't think that's the only difference.
No.
I absolutely don't. I think it's stickier. I think it dries slower. I think that there's a lot of other factors, and there is a stamping polish that's really good that I bought on Amazon because people had recommended it, because there's these certain plates that I have that are just awful for picking up. They have the cutest designs on them, but they are just awful for pickup. And I know somebody asked in a Facebook group, like, what can I do to fix it? And someone said, use She Modern or She Modern. And so I bought some, and they're these tiny, tiny bottles. They're pretty cheap, but they're so small.
Yeah.
And they say like super sticky on them, and they work better. So it's not just pigmentation. Your polish just might not be the right thing, because sometimes I can pick up stuff and it's like, well, this is clear, but I can see it's on the stamp. But like when I was first stamping, it was just like, no, there's like literally nothing on this stamp. And I was doing all this crazy stuff to my stampers. I was rubbing acetone on them, which like I don't recommend people do, but if you're having a really hard time, maybe you want to try, but don't blame me if you ruin your stamper. But I don't accept any responsibility.
We're not a doctor.
No, we're not a doctor who operates on stamps.
No.
Maybe together we could be a doctor, Danny. Maybe like I could hold you on my shoulders and we could get a really long lab coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am certified.
Yeah. So for me, I ended up buying this big batch of Born Pretty stamping polishes, which you can get on Amazon. And it was like $40 for 20 of them, which is a bit of an upfront investment. But like I've been using those stamping polishes for a year now, for over a year now, for like 2 years now. And they've been wonderful the whole time. Like I buy other stamping polishes, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with those. They're great.
Yes. When I started out with stamping, I invested invested in a couple of stamping polish sets from Clear Jelly Stamper, which came in these adorable tiny bottles, but you got like a whole rainbow, because I was like, I want to do stamping art. This is what I want to do. So that was definitely an upfront investment cost, but I still have them, and I don't use them as much as like the Maniologies and other stamping polishes I have, but it was a great way to get started with those full rainbow sets so that I guarantee had everything I needed. Let's see. My second point actually does kind of tie into that, and that was the FOMO, the fear of missing out, the urge to collect all the polish all at once. I was like, I'm gonna have the full Helmers, 6 of them across my room. Which is crazy. That's a crazy amount of polish to get in a short period of time. So I started signing up for any polish mystery boxes I could find, or subscription boxes, which I do still actually have. Some of them I still do the Color Pass and the Maniology Manny and Me monthly ones. But yeah, the point was to try and get as much polish as possible without really looking into the brands that I was buying from. And I wanted 100% collection of the brands that I did know. So I knew I wanted all the Holo Tacos, which I am actually still working on. And then Cirque colors. I bought so many Cirque colors. Oh my goodness. Including, and this goes into my third point, I'm going to just kind of tie these two together, because I didn't look into the formulas and understand the formulas. So I bought a lot of thermals, and they died before I even really got to use them very much. Like, silly thing to do.
Yeah, I want to take a moment, by the way, shout out Nikki's Nails, because Nikki keeps all of her thermals in a fridge, and she says that in the 3 years that she's been collecting them, none of them have died.
Yeah, so, I'm definitely going to try that.
I luckily heard about thermals dying before I ever bought one, so I knew what I was getting into, but dang, that would have been such a bummer.
Yeah.
And it is such a bummer.
I'm sad.
Yeah, like, it is such a bummer that, like, there's so many so cool polishes, and yet,
because, like, I pulled out the Cirque Colors Halloween polishes from last year, which were 3 super cool thermals, and I was like, they're only a year old, surely they're still, nope, they're dead.
I love Cirque Colors, you know I do, but I bought Rothko Red, and it was almost dead on arrival, but because I was so like novice, I didn't really realize that. And then 4 months later, I tried to put it on. It didn't shift at all.
Nope.
And I reached out to them, and I was kind of like, hey, I know this is so late, and like, you don't owe me anything. But thermals are supposed to last like, 6 months to 3 years. And it's been 4 months, and I'm pretty sure this is dead on arrival. And I was just like, could you just like throw me a little coupon code or something? Cause like, cause like, I don't think this is right. And they did throw me a little coupon code, and they were super nice about it, even though it's like, I know it's 4 months from now, like that, but this shouldn't have died. And so I love Cirque. I don't recommend their thermals,
even though they're so cute.
They are very fleeting. If you're gonna wear unless you're gonna wear it all month long and just use it all. I love you, Cirque. Do not recommend the thermals. Recommend everything else, literally everything else. Okay, so mine is very different. This is my number 3 is that I have had a few issues with not letting my layers dry. And in general, I'm, a lot of people are like, I even heard Simply Nailogical be like, wait 20 minutes between coats. And I'm like, girl, no.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, like, that's wild. No. And she's like, but if you by the time you're done with the whole thing and you've painted all the layers, I'm like, no, it doesn't take me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But yeah, there are some things that you need to wait longer. And so the 2 big issues I've had is, number 1, if you're having problems with gradients, which is one thing, Holo Taco, they're linear holos, so beautiful with gradients. I've never had this problem with them. But you gotta let that base layer dry.
Oh yeah.
Gotta. And it took me so long to learn that. I remember one time, it was like such a comedy of errors moment. I was at my sister's house and I was doing a gradient on her nails. And for some reason, we decided to do it while she was like in a meeting, like on Skype. And like, so I was like, they knew I was there. But I was like off to the side doing her nails while she was in this meeting, and it was just like not working. And it was just like, yeah, what's happening? But yeah, it's because I didn't let them dry long enough. Yeah. So that's a big thing. You know, a lot of extremely skilled nail artists that I know don't do gradients because they're like, I just can never get them to work for me. So if you think you dried long enough, wait another 5 minutes.
Wait another 5 minutes minimum.
Just like get them dry. And the same goes for if you were using a smudge-free top coat or even like really any top coat, but specifically for me, it's smudge-free and matte that are like the biggest culprits of this, especially if you use them together. Oh my goodness. Like matte top coat's cool, but it shows every single mistake.
Yep.
Every single one. Whereas like top coat is like instantaneous perfection. Like you're like, oh, this looks awful. Then you put top coat on it and it's like, oh, never mind. Not so awful.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Matte's the opposite. You're like, this is so good. And you're like, wow, what the heck happened to it?
Yeah.
So like I would not wait for my base colors to dry. And then I would pop on, you know, the smudge free as soon as I thought it wouldn't smudge. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I could, I would put like my regular top coat over that. And then like, God forbid, I put my matte top coat on. And then it's like, why do I have so many bubbles?
Yep.
And I've reached out and asked people like why this is. Some people say it's like has to do with the fullness of your smudge-free top coat bottle or the newness of your smudge-free top coat bottle. Recently, I asked PBL Nails. Big shout out to PBL Nails. She is such a talented nail artist. And I want to make art more like her, like so bad. And yeah, you're so good. But I was watching her do her nails and she did a smudge free and she did a matte and not a bubble to be found. And so like, finally I was just like, okay, how you do it?
How you do that?
How you do that? And she was like, yeah, well, I just wait a long time for it. And, you know, sometimes when the top coat gets old, like it'll get bubbles in it. And I'm like, okay. Which actually, I'm going to say like a little thing that I've noticed too. I used to buy like only bottles of top coat and big refills. And I know that Kelly Marissa usually buys like 2 bottles and then like tips one to the other when they're dead. And I was like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just buy a big refill? And I'll tell you why. And I've learned this because over time, if you're like me and not the most perfect person in the world, at least for me, I will get a little bit of polish in the top coat. I'll get a little bit of color and cloud it. Yeah. And so like, it's really good for me to have like, you know, a few bottles of top coat around so that once I've like really clouded one and all that top coat is just spent. I mean, I have cleaned them out with acetone before. That also works, but like, it's nicer to just be able to move on to your new bottle. And then I also use refills, but like, you know, now I'm like, okay, like I'll buy another bottle as well.
Yeah, I do that method. Once I get about halfway through one bottle of top coat, I'll go ahead and purchase the next one, start using the new one and kind of top it off for as long as I can with the old bottle. I almost never use, it's kind of like a beer, you know, you never really get to the bottom layer, but you use as much as you can. And thinner, nail polish thinner. I highly recommend it. Be careful, there's different kinds. Some destroy glitter, some don't. I use the kind that does destroy glitter in my top coats and stuff since that's what I bought first before I learned that.
Yeah.
Now I have the KB Shimmer thinner, which is safe for glitter, so I can use that on my old glitter polishes and thin them out. But yeah, it's just a learning curve, which that's my fourth point is the common mistakes. The things you just learn as you go by consuming nail content and learning from other nail artists about their little tips and tricks. So scrolling back in my Instagram, because I was looking, I was like, what mistakes did I really make? And then shared with the world. Cuticles. Ooh, cuticle cleanup. Gotta do it. You gotta do it right. And I'm still pretty bad about this. When I'm cleaning the top of my cuticle, sometimes my brush goes down too far and it looks like I've been wearing nails for like 2 weeks and they've grown out when I just over cleaned my cuticles basically. And in the beginning it was under cleaning them, and I had, I was like, oh, that'll wash off when I wash my hands. And that's true, but if you're going to post them online,
yeah,
make them look a little nicer. Speaking of posting things online, boy howdy, was that a learning curve of how to pose my hand and take a picture with my other hand and make sure my lighting is right. The bathroom was not good enough,
Yeah.
And I have to wait for sunny days to get really nice shots now. I'm gonna build a light box at some point and see how that goes. But yeah, that was a learning curve of learning how to post nails online and share them with others in a aesthetically pleasing way.
Yeah. That was a big thing for me, trying to figure that out. And I feel like I'm decent at it now, but like for a while I was like, oh, I'm going to make like a video about how to do this because I know how to do it now. And then like the more I got into it, the more I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
There's so much more.
You could like, and still like, I'm like, no, I could be better. Nope, I could be better. I could be better. I mean, that's good. Like every single day, I'm like, this could be better.
Yeah.
This could be better. No. Not that, I know that at least my stream guru, LJ from Stream Scheme, he says a lot of times he makes videos to help him learn what to do. So that like, that's why he kind of makes the same video over and over again, like every few months, is because he'll learn more and he wants to share the update with you.
Yes. In education, there's a big push to have kids teach other kids because nothing makes you learn content like having to teach it.
That's great.
So yeah, that is supported by research.
Excellent. That's so good to hear. So my fourth mistake that I made is an incredibly specific one, and this is more about content. Yes, very important. Content creation and specifically nail streaming, which is, of course, insanely niche. There's like, I would say less than 100 humans on Earth who do it.
Yes.
So incredibly niche. But is when I first started streaming, I had my streaming setup on the opposite side of the room from where I stored my nail polish. And it was like literally the worst thing ever.
Yes.
It was like, I know Danny knows, like remembers from those days, where I'd have to like get up, and then also like I had my tripod on the floor, and like I would kick the tripod when I walked, like, like speaking of learning curves, and I'm sure Danny experienced this too, just like the streaming setup learning curve.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Because like every resource one can find really to help you stream is all set up for gaming streaming. Yes. And like, if you're lucky, maybe it's just chatting streaming. But so few people make content even about just IRL streaming or things like hot tub streaming, for instance. Like almost everything is about gaming streaming, which is so funny because I feel like gaming streaming is, and like I feel like this is backed up by what I've heard from, LJ from Stream Scheme. Gaming streaming is kind of on its way out. I don't think that it's on the way out with the door closing behind it and no one's ever going to do it. Like I do think that it's like still a natural thing to want to watch. But like, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, Let's Plays were the hottest thing on YouTube, and they're just not anymore. And I think that streaming is going the same way, and I could be wrong. Feel free to come at me. Just be nice. I'm a sensitive baby, but feel free to come at me. But I think that IRL streaming, streaming more activities that people are doing that aren't in the game, or just chatting streaming, things like that. I was gonna
say just chatting, I think is growing and growing in popularity, because that's why people were showing up to the game streams after the initial, once you've seen a playthrough of, let's say, Stray, which was really popular not too long ago. You've seen the game, you're there for the personality of the streamer, and so why not just focus more on that? It makes sense.
Exactly. But there's so few guides out there. I didn't know how to have a top-down view, and then almost everybody I knew who was doing it was either like a very professional setup, like Kelly Marissa, who doesn't show her face at the same time as her hands, or people were using their phones, and I didn't want to use my phone for a variety of reasons. So like there really wasn't any information, and there still is very little. So I guess, Danny and I, we're going to have to make the info.
I guess, yeah, at some point we should explain our stream setup because, yeah, you're right. It was very like either you, and that was hard at first with streaming, was feeling like I needed to buy like all these professional cameras and lighting and stuff. And it was like, oh my God, how much is this going to cost me? You don't have to do that, but you also don't have to settle for, iPhone quality, which, let's be real, iPhones are really good, cameras and stuff. But for streaming, like, yeah, you kind of want a more dedicated camera.
Yeah. Tiny tangent, not that anyone asked this, but like, Danny and I were talking on Friday night and I turned on my thing and I have a very, very fancy camera that I just so happen to own because my husband has dabbled in photography. But like, it's one of the best cameras you can buy. And my image was really grainy because my lights weren't all on.
Yeah.
So like before you go blowing your, money on a fancy camera, blow your money on some real bright lights.
Yes. So we will definitely do an episode, I think, about our stream setups and how we figured it out and stuff. But I can tell you right now, just looking at my desk, and I'm not including the black lights because those are specialty. I have 3 main lights plus a couple like extra background lights.
Yes.
That are required for you to see anything.
That's about the same for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my number 4 though, which we totally went off. But my number 4 was putting my nail polish on the other side of the room.
Yeah, you want to make it convenient for your content creation because no matter how well you plan out a mani, you're always going to forget 1 or 2 polishes. Like every time. It's just how it goes. Yeah.
Plus, like, because I have such a big polish collection, especially now, a lot of times people will be like, oh, do you have this polish? And I'll want to bring it out and be like, yeah, I do. Do you want to see it? Should I swatch it for you? Do you want to talk about it? And it really just slowed down and messed up the content because I'd be like, oh, and I would like literally like, it would add time to my stream that was not good time to be adding, where I would waffle. Should I get up and go get it? I don't have to walk through all these cords, and it was just, it was a mess. So I'm so glad I fixed that. That was a big mistake that I fixed.
And last little tangent here, doing anything with wet nails is risky and terrifying.
The worst thing. Literally the worst
Opening
thing.
Drawers with wet nails. Oh no.
Not even once. Except for I'll do it every single day of my life.
Exactly. I know. Except we do it constantly. And in fact, on one stream, I accidentally pulled my drawer out too far because it's just a cheap little wooden drawer set that I keep my circs in. And the whole drawer came out and spilled everywhere. And I just had to turn around on my stream and be like, I'll deal with that later.
That was a pretty funny thing about not having the stuff in front of me because people could just hear me be like, God darn it.
Yeah, everything falling. Yes.
Glitch or a feature, you decide.
Okay, so I think, speaking of content creation and stuff, let me get into my 5th point here, which is not maximizing my content. I think Simply Nailogical is a great example of this. When she streams, she has the live stream. There's boom, 1 piece of content. Then she has the VOD, the video on demand that can be posted later for people to watch, 2 pieces of content. Then she can cut her stream down into highlights and have a highlights video. There's 3 pieces of content. Those highlights can then be used for Instagram and TikToks. Like, it's amazing the amount of content I could be getting out of every single stream if I just invested the time. So this is a mistake that I need to work on going forward. And really, it's kind of a time limiting factor. I just don't have time to edit my VODs very much. But someday I will. And I need to definitely take full advantage of that. Everything is content, people. If you want to be a content creator, you don't have to write a script right away. You can take little moments and make it into content. Do it.
Okay. And so I am at number 5, which I think is actually a pretty good one to end on and definitely ties into everything, is like, and I think this is the number 1 thing that I really had to experience this to learn. But the thing is that I, in the past, have censored myself way too much. And both censoring myself and editing myself, like, for instance, like, I used to edit this podcast with such a fine-tooth comb. And that that did make great results. Like, people thought that the editing was great and that it was really good. And I agree. I did do a really good job. But it took up so much of my life to do that it made me not enjoy what we were doing. And I haven't even told Danny this until like right now. But like, there was a time not too long ago where I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah. And that's not the point of this. We're having fun talking about nail polish. And yeah, if it stops being fun, then it's time to reevaluate like how you're approaching something. So I'm so glad that you calmed down on the editing, because I don't think it's necessary either. Like,
thank you.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, and that's the thing, is that there's always going to be hard work. It's you know, this editing, content creation is always going to be hard. And if you want to get into content creation, even just Twitch streaming, and you don't want to edit, then I have really bad news for you. This is not the job for you. Like, obviously, there's so many people don't want to edit. And so many people who are content creators, who are great content creators, don't want to edit. And a lot of people who become really good content creators do pay for editors. And of course, that's what I want eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually. But you're not going to, unless you are independently wealthy, which some people are, you're just not going to be there. You're just not going to be able to have that. And again, to talk about LJ from Stream Scheme, he says, you know, people say to him, he'll say, you know, you need this, you need that. What do I need to succeed? You need these things. And they say, oh, I can't do those things. I can't have a regular schedule. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. And like, okay, like there's some things that you can let slide, but then focus on other things and still excel. But if your entire world is just saying, I can't do these things, and if that is your reality, then the sad truth is that it's not going to work for you.
Right. And nothing says you can't be a casual streamer and just stream when you can. We're talking about people who actually want to make a brand and want to promote themselves through social media. And these are, there's going to be some requirements, just like literally any other job. There's going to be some baseline requirements that you do have to stick to. But we don't want to discourage anyone from trying.
No.
Go for it. But do be aware that it's not just turning on the camera and everything magically going well. It's, in fact, most of the time it's the opposite. I can't tell you how many streams I have started. Even still, I'm not sure what the issue is, where I'm muted. My microphone's not on and I'm just talking until someone finally tells me in the chat, hey, by the way. I don't know what you're saying. So yeah, it's never going to be perfect, and that's okay.
Yeah. And like you said, you know, I think there is such like, and this is going to sound like so like flowery and stupid, but like there is such like a beauty to somebody who just gets on Twitch or gets on YouTube or whatever and is just doing what they want, who literally does not have the motive of being a professional streamer, of being a professional YouTuber, who is just doing what they want, who is just getting on to hang out with their friends. And I think those can be some of the best videos. Those can be some of the best streams. And I think that sometimes luck happens to those people too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are excuses and there are reasons. And, you know, like I was really sick and I'm getting better, but like there was a chance I was going to have to take a break. And you know, it wasn't going to be my fault.
No,
but like it was going to be a sad reality.
Yeah.
And if I'm not making content, you know, I can't expect, you know, people to come like seek me out in my house.
Yeah.
Make my like year-old video go viral. Like it's just not going to happen. So So yeah, over editing, it's better to get the content out there as long as it's not like bad, as long as, you know, as long as you're not offending someone, as long as you're not wasting someone's time. It's good to get the content out, even if it's not perfect. My husband always says, don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough. And then, you know, also just like to me censoring myself, like, I am a very, kids, plug your ears. I'm a very sexual person. And I like to make the dirty joke and I like to do the flirting and I like to talk really unabashedly about myself and my experiences and all of that stuff. And it's an adult experience. It's a nice, you know, I think I'm wholesome. I think I'm healthy. I think I'm fun and friendly. And I think it speaks volumes that we have people who come to my stream that are of all different persuasions and of all different comfort levels. But like in the beginning, I was like, first I was worried that like I wasn't allowed to say stuff on Twitch. And then I just found out that it just doesn't matter. Like I literally thought it might be against the rules. It just doesn't matter. I'm set to mature, so I'm allowed to say pretty much whatever I want.
Right. And that's the nice, time and place. And that's a skill that, especially I'm going to say like young content creators, you do need to learn time and place. So Stephanie on her channel, it's labeled as mature, and that's what we can go in expecting and understanding. Mine is labeled family friendly. Like, so I don't curse on my stream, and I don't really allow certain topics in my chat and things like that, because I want to keep it open to literally all ages. You know what I mean? And that's just a choice that I made as a content creator. I don't think everyone should make that choice. That'd be so boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you are so kind and understanding in not cursing when we are making content together so that both of our audiences can get something out of it, it's just awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I love you.
Thank you. I love you. And yeah, and the fact that you have accepted me as your, content creation partner, as your podcasting partner, streaming partner, even though I, am this way, I don't need to go into your chat and let my freak flag fly. Luckily, I have many freak flags, and a lot of them are appropriate in your chat.
Yeah. So. And it's not like you're not being you. And that's, again, I really am picturing the younger content creators, like my students and young adults, who being authentic to yourself doesn't mean that you have to make it inappropriate for certain spaces, time and place. And just because you kind of filter out some parts of your personality in certain spaces doesn't mean you're not being authentic in other ways. So it's a balance, as with all things. It's definitely a balance. And I'm so glad that you don't censor yourself, because your chats are so much fun.
Thank you. That's something that I hear people say a lot, where they're like, oh, when I'm at work, I have this face on, and I'm at home in front of this person. I do think that there's like a truth to that. Yeah. But for me,
still your face.
Exactly. For me, I'm like, well, no, like I am still me. Pretty much anybody who's experiencing me is experiencing the same me. Maybe they don't see me the exact same way my husband sees me, because he sees me at more vulnerable times, or, same with my mom or whoever. But like, you don't have to just like go to work and just be like, no, we are no fun here. Yeah. One can learn to be appropriate. Like, I am like absolutely, mature content on my stream. I worked for Disney for 10 years. Those people who I worked with are not surprised that I do that. Like, my biggest fans at Disney, I said one curse word at Disney one time ever, for good reason.
There was a situation.
There was a situation, and a curse word came out. But my fans at Disney, there's a group of them who were fans of me. They were like huge Rocky Horror Picture Show fans. Yeah. And we found out that about each other. So your people are going to recognize you, whether or not you are in the thralls of doing the thing. They're going to you're going to be able to see each other if you just kind of recognize, like, well, I'm not going to use these words at these times. I'm not going to make these jokes at these times, or wear these outfits at these times, but I can still be me.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to say about this is, people can see fakes. They can spot a fake from a mile away. So it's good to be inspired by, but don't try to mimic personalities of your favorite creators. The tactics, the tips that your favorite creators give out, that's perfectly fine. That's how we learn. That's me and Stephanie here learn from Kelly a lot of different things about nail art. But I don't make nail art that looks like Kelly's. You definitely don't make nail art that looks like Kelly's. So yeah, you can adapt from others around you, but try not to be fake. Be yourself, because people can see that. If you are not a high energy, hey guys, welcome back to the stream, like, if that's not you, then don't be that. Be a chill stream. It's okay.
Yeah. And I think that people don't understand how incredibly endearing it can be to do what you want and talk about what you want. So like, I've been becoming friends with Nikki's Nails. Shout out Nikki's Nails, who is just the world's most precious bean.
Careful, SpongeBob.
Careful, SpongeBob. Careful, SpongeBob. Oh my gosh. Every time she says that, I just crack up, and then I write it in the chat. I was like, careful, SpongeBob. And like, she just talks about like, she'll talk about the Vampire Diaries and Twilight. And she has such like, I mean, those aren't so niche, but like she does have niche interests. She has like these just such niche, like powerful, like, hyperfixation interests.
Yes.
And like, even though like I have gotten into those things because it's so fun to hear her talk about them, and they make them fun. And like, that's the thing, is that if you're streaming, it's your show.
Yeah.
If people don't want to hear you talk about Twilight for 4 hours, they can watch someone else.
There's lots of streamers out there.
That just reminds me of just like a time this person like made this horrible, they were just like, time to troll, and I banned them because I was like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And they were like, wow, can't you take a joke? And I was just like, no, there are millions of other streamers. I'm sure you can find somebody that you like.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will take your joke. Yeah.
Like, go find somebody else. And so that goes for everyone. You know, if people don't want to watch you, and like, you know, maybe your friends aren't going to want to watch you forever, that's cool.
That's fine.
Very few of my IRL friends, they know that I stream. Very few of them watch my stream regularly because like it's just not their thing. It's just not what they want to watch. They're just not that interested. And if you were relying on your friends to be the ones to be interested, honey, you got a big storm coming. Like that's like you're just going to be so disappointed because like, it's not because they don't love you. It's because like you're entertainment and they have their own, just like you want to watch Twilight all day, they want to watch Twilight all day.
Yeah, exactly. Also, last point, I think, and you know, maybe we should do a separate episode on like the community of streaming and stuff.
That'd be great.
Just because you don't make someone's every single stream doesn't mean they hate you. They don't hate you. They understand, and you just come in, pick up where you left off, and I think we'll put that in a different episode. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea because the culture of streaming is such a beautiful and complex and interesting thing. And I think it's just such an interesting thing to talk about. I love talking about it.
Yes.
But boy, I think that was a jam-packed episode, and thank goodness we took a week off, Danny.
Yes.
Thank goodness. We had such a good break and came back just feeling fresh and ready to go, except for Danny, who is constantly buried in schoolwork.
I'm almost done, you guys. I'm almost done.
You're almost done. You're getting there. We're going to get her there.
Yes.
And we just have some really exciting things coming up for everybody. I can't wait for you to hear some guests who are coming up and some just amazing stories that are going to be happening. So like, please stay tuned. Everything's just going to be so great. We're going to have so much fun. And I love you all.
It's going to be good.
Thank you for listening. Thank you so much, Betsy Ross. You have been such an amazing supporter. And yeah, you're just amazing. Thank you for the wonderful question. It was a great question. And
tell people how to send us more questions.
Yeah, I will tell people how to send us more questions. Anyway, whatever. Okay, the point is we are getting to our stupid outro, and I want to say you can message Danny or I on Instagram. She is Danny Shout. I am Fanatic here. We are on Twitch as well. We're on Discord. You can join Fanatic's Funhouse. It's in our link tree below. And send us your questions any which way you can. There will be an email. I'll probably just edit myself in. It's going to be super awkward and funny. Just saying the name of the email address, but it'll be in the description. And if you want to like get on the list of questions we're going to answer, definitely send to the email. But you can send them anyway. If you send them any other way, though, there's a chance to get lost in the shuffle. So your choice. Take your risks if you want to. You can say them to our faces. You can say them in our chats. But if you really want something answered, send it to the email, which is twolacqueredladies@gmail.com. That's like our podcast, 2TWO lacqueredladies@gmail.com. That. Anyway, the point is, I'm going to read this. I am Fanatic here. She is Danny Shout. All of our links are in the description. Join us next time where we interview Santa Claus about his claws and get his tips on lifting his sack with 3-inch stiletto nails.
Stay lacquered.